my name is Wyatt Boone, and I'm a hydroponic maintenance technician with New York Sunworks. We'll be going over the experiment on phototropism, and the question we'll be asking is, how do plants detect light? So we're going to be running an experiment where we plant some seedlings and make a maze of sorts, and we're going to see if the plants can grow towards the light around the maze and what's blocking it. So next I'll show you the materials and how I set this all up. To start out, we need something to plant our seeds and media in. I will be using this plastic cup, but you can use whatever you have that you would like to use as a container. Next, we need our seeds. I'll be using 2 pea seeds per cup, but you can use whatever seeds you have, or like even dried beans that you'd get from the grocery store. Next, we need something to plant it in. Now, normally in our labs we would have rock wool. I'm using these. They're called Oasis cubes or floral foam. It's basically a substitute for rock wool, and will be what I'm using. But I'll also be conducting the experiment with some other substrates, including soil from my garden, or just a simple cotton pad. This is something that you could use, that you could find around the house. You just rip it up and put it in there and wet it. And then you would plant the seeds. Now, the last thing we'll need for our experiment is some cardboard. This is just to make the maze that your plants will be growing around. So we'll be getting to that later, but for now, we want to focus on planting our seeds, and I'll go show you my setup. So here's the cup that I'm going to use as my container, and I've chosen to use cotton balls and some paper towel for this one. So you just want to stuff the paper towel down to the bottom like so, and then add your cotton ball in there. Next, you want to wet it just a little bit, just so it gets wet enough that it all absorbs around. You want to make sure you pour out any excess water if you're using a container that has no holes on the bottom. You don't want it to get too wet and too soggy, because then the seeds will have a chance of possibly getting mold on them. So unless you poke holes in it, make sure it's not too wet. Next, you just plant your seeds in there and then set them up under your light source, which I'll show you next. So here is my setup. I use this cabinet to start seeds, and we have a light right here. This will be our light source, and our 4 cups with a cotton pad, soil, rock wool, and another one with rock wool. I have this extra one to conduct another experiment. I will be cutting the tip of the pea plant to see if that one will also grow towards the light or not. Now, if you have a light, that's perfect. You can use that. But if not, you can just put it on the windowsill, and that will work perfectly fine. So this is day 1 after I planted my seeds and wetted them all with water. We will check back in a couple of days, and we'll see how it looks. Catch you then.